Thank you for inviting me. As indicated, my name is Louise Rea. It's my privilege to serve as president ex officio, which is a special name for past president of the May Court Club of Windsor. I have with me Martha Robinson. She's a board member and her portfolio is special projects. I think of Martha as fundraiser extraordinaire. You want her in your group. You may have heard about the May Court, and Bill indicated he had heard of us, but didn't know who we are and what we do. I often hear, oh, my grandmother used to shop there. I'm not your grandmother, but my mother used to shop there. This long-serving organization was established in Windsor in 1934. We are part of a national organization, although there are only 8 groups left, all in Ontario. Next year, we will celebrate our 90th birthday. Originally, the May Court was a women's service club. The members supported schools with Kids on the Block programs, puppet presentations, and they worked with hospital guilds and the Red Cross. In keeping with the Human Rights Code of Ontario and the mandate of ONCA, which necessitated the rewriting of our bylaws, I'm pleased to tell you that we are a much more inclusive organization and have welcomed male members into our group. We are a registered charity, and we are staffed entirely by volunteers. No one gets paid. However, one of our dilemmas is the fact that we need more active volunteers so that we can extend our hours, the hours of our shop. As I am speaking, consider the total number of hours of volunteerism that we experienced last year. If you can, write down a number that you think might have happened in our organization. Our mandate, and hence our mission, is to raise funds to distribute annually to organizations that support the mental and physical health of children and youth in the Windsor-Essex community. Our resale shop, the source of most of our fundraising efforts, is located at 1122 Wyandotte Street East. It has been there since 1954. It is in the heart of downtown Windsor, and the city has quite literally grown up around us. In fact, we own 2 storefronts, 1122 and 1130 Wyandotte. The second storefront is our receiving room. As a registered charity, the Corporation of the City of Windsor allows us to utilize these spaces tax-free. The fact that the city has grown up around us became particularly evident 2 years ago. Directly following the pandemic, we were inundated with donations. Our receiving room was stacked floor to ceiling with goods because people and friends of the May Court spent their pandemic time cleaning out their closets and cupboards and basements. It was a great problem to have until I mentioned that the city of Windsor has grown up around us, as this became particularly evident 2 summers ago when Windsor and the May Court experienced that once in 500 years rainfall, which flooded our shop so terribly. Then 2 weeks later, another once in 500-year rainfall, or was that 2 in 1,000 years? The rainfall quite literally left us up to our ankles in water. You see, Begley School is located directly behind our shop, and when it was rebuilt, the building was left significantly lower, below the grade of their building. And when the landscaping of the school featured berms in their backyard for the children to play on, those berms replaced gullies or ditches that used to accumulate water and became, in effect, like Niagara Falls in the heavy rainfall. Great for the kids, not so much for the May Court. It was evident that our building needed a remedy, so I called a good friend, an engineer, your fellow Rotarian, Ed Link, and enlisted his professional opinion. He called upon another Rotarian and architect, Stuart Miller, and it took these 2 skilled professionals to confirm what I already knew, that May Court had a big problem. They had some valuable suggestions, and the remedial action was very expensive, $200,000 worth of remedy. We needed to raise our back door above grade 3 feet, reinforce our foundations. A new roof was required, not 1, but 2, as we own both buildings. and our east wall had bowed as a result of the roof leaks. Because of the flooding, the flooring had to be replaced. Because of the requirements of a working board, 3 quotes for each dimension of work was required. And not many contractors wanted to quote the job. They were very busy. A lot of basements flooded at the same time. Thank goodness for friends like Ed and Stu and retired contractor Dave Woodall. Because while contractors were reluctant to talk to me, Dave had a good rapport and excellent reputation. Then we had to deal with the bank. You see, during COVID, the club, the Maycourt shop, had no revenue. And any loans from the bank required a spreadsheet of revenue and financial resources. Eventually, TD did grant us a loan, but only at a variable rate. The work has been accomplished and we owe money to the bank. Our monthly payments on a variable rate mortgage means that we have to work extra hard to put aside funds for kids. As I mentioned, the club operates our resale and thrift shop. We count on the community of Windsor and Essex for donations of new and gently used clothing, accessories, shoes, boots, coats, jewelry, and household goods. That's how we hope you can help us. We ask that you clean out your cupboards, your closets, your garages, your basements, your storage units. And when you do, kindly donate those goods to us at the Maycourt shop. Everything that is donated finds a home. Items in our shop sell for $2, $3, $5, $10, and sometimes a little bit more. The significance of these numbers will become apparent later in my presentation. If we can't sell items that are donated, then we find a purpose for goods elsewhere. We also support organizations such as the Welcome Center with children's clothing, toys, and toiletries, the Divine Mercy Food Bank, our neighbor down the street, often in need of clothing and shoes, socks and boots, and Street Angels, New Beginnings, and many more. Last week, we received a request from St. Matthew House, the Home for Refugees, and the Multicultural Council. More than 30 winter coats were needed and we provided, as it is our mandate to serve. Given our location, we also serve a particular demographic. There is a significant immigrant population that have needs. Aside from clothing, we can't seem to keep pots, pans, and at this time of year, blankets in stock. There is also the homeless that have needs, and we serve them with compassion. I can tell you the story of the homeless fellas who came into the shop one Saturday morning in an undershirt and shorts. And he said, please, can you help me? Someone stole my clothes. And we outfitted him, pants, a belt, shirt, sweater, a hoodie, a coat, shoes, and boots. And as he left, he was humbled and thanked us. And he said, I'm sorry, I can't pay. And all we asked is that please do something kind for someone today. And as he went out the door, one of our volunteers reached into her pocket and pulled out $10 and said, have a coffee or breakfast. Last year, returning to business following COVID, we managed to put together $43,000 to distribute to 23 organizations. In June of this year, in spite of making monthly payments on our loan, we were able to donate $50,000 to 19 local groups to support the mental and physical health of children and youth. Just as an aside, can you imagine how much inventory we have to push out the door to raise $50,000 at $2, $3, $5, and $10? Groups such as the Kiwanis Sunshine Camp benefit from our philanthropy. Noah's House, that's a house for children to teach young adults to teach them life skills. Kind Minds. RIM, the Windsor Residence for Young Men, that's Greg Goulin's project, where he brings the boys who have aged out of the Children's Aid Society, their age groups. And he houses 6 to 8 of them and teaches them life skills, make sure they go to school, finish their education, prepares them for job interviews. And what we do is we go in and prepare kits for the kids so that when they move into a unit of their own, an apartment of their own, they have a set of dishes, a set of pots and pans, blankets, and whatever they need. The University of Windsor Girls Basketball Camp. Now, the university is well funded, But they run this camp as an extension of what goes on in their at their skills level. There were 2 or 3 scholarships this year we were able to provide to girls, particularly from the west end of the city, and enable them to attend camp. New Beginnings also received a group, and I could go on, but I have to comment. We gave a grant to the John McGivney Center, and they are well funded by the government. Usually we step back where government funding is provided. And they built this brand new facility. It's lovely. It's a couple stories high, and it's to serve the needs of special needs children. Now, I don't know what the architects were thinking, but they have 2 floors here and elevators inside. But in case of fire, they didn't have an escape for the 2nd floor. So we provided the funding for a compression elevator on the exterior of the building that will simply enable them to get children in wheelchairs or staff out of the 2nd floor in case of an emergency. There is an application process, and it'll probably be in April or May of this year. We invite the recipients of our philanthropy to a very informal reception and ask that they give a 2-minute presentation to our group. It is so invigorating and gratifying to hear their plans, aspirations, and dreams for the money. It's the best day ever in the May Court. Since last spring, we have been partnering with other local Rotary clubs, Walkerville, LaSalle, and more recently, the Roseland group. We have asked them to clean out their cupboards and closets. The caliber and quality of donations is amazing. Calvin Klein, Ralph Lauren, designs by Simply and Max Mara and Lily Pulitzer, higher end labels have found their way to our shop. Many items with the price tag still attached. The resale business has become more trendy of late. We are in vogue by keeping a certain quantity of clothing and goods out of the landfills. Vintage items also find their way to our shop, and some better quality china and crystal. Not only do we need volunteers and shoppers, but we are in need of members. For $54 a year, you can hang out with some very interesting people. Our membership has needed attention. Our club has been in decline for quite a bit of time, and many of our members are quite senior. Our eldest member has belonged for 74 years. She is 94. And while some of our more senior members do not have the stamina nor the interest in working in the shop, there are still ways we find that they can contribute. The May Court does receive donations of the most interesting array of china, crystal, and silver. It seems that no one wants to clean or own silver anymore. Last August, we hosted the Fine, Fancy, and Frugal event. In order to prepare for the event, someone had to polish the silver. We put out a call to our members, and more than a dozen people volunteered to come in and clean silver. Many of them were our more senior members, but boy, could they ever show you how to clean silver. A little wine, a few sweets, good company, and shiny silver was accomplished, which helped to make this event so special. In addition, we have hosted several other fundraisers. Bob Vojtovic, a local artist, held an event at Show Gallery and donated 20% of the proceeds to our shop. In July, this past July, we hosted a home garden and art tour in Walkerville with musicians, plein air artists, appetizers, and beverages at each site. The weather gods cooperated, and I think because they shine on Martha, and we enjoyed a sunset dinner on the patio at the Windsor Club. Last fall, we had great fun with You Gotta Have Art auction. Watch for the second one this February. We get a tremendous amount of wall decor and art donated to us. Fortunately, the ladies who own the show galleries are members of our club and curate and evaluate the art for us. We had a piece of art, we priced it $8 in the shop, couldn't sell it. The ladies from Show Gallery, Lorraine Steele, took a look at it. She says, I have a smaller piece on consignment in my gallery. It's by the same artist. She says, the owner will not let me sell it for less than $300. We had a larger one by the same artist, $8. Yeah. We just held our second Book Lovers Luncheon, Chapter 2, held at the Windsor Club. 3 local artists presented their writings, and we enjoyed a lovely luncheon as well. Follow us, our website, May Court of Windsor, Facebook, Windsor May Court, Instagram at May Court Windsor. 2 years ago, We did not even have internet in the shop. If you can imagine, we were still functioning on dial-up. None of these events could happen, nor could we operate our receiving room and our shop without the efforts of our volunteers. How many hours do you think we had in volunteerism last year? Any idea? Any suggestions?
I was gonna go with 6,000.
Any, that's not high enough.
10.
10?
14.
17,774 hours. We track them because we do have to report to CRA in order to maintain our status as a charity. Keep us in mind. Know that we are out there trying to financially help those organizations which are helping our kids grow. Know that when you change the life of a child, not only do you change their future, but you alter yours as well for the better. Further, as Rotarians, you know as well as any organization, when good people come together to do good work with good intentions, it yields good results. Next April, we're hosting in Windsor the annual general meeting of the May Court Club of Canada. Our theme for this event is called Be Bold. BOLD is an acronym for building opportunities, legacies, and dreams. May Court Club of Windsor, keep us in mind as you clean out your cupboards and closets. And I'll answer any questions. Any questions?
Louise, what type of items, let's say, for example, men's suits, for example, you don't sell very many of those, but
No.
what happens to the clothing that, for example, that is soiled or out of fashion or quite frankly, most people would think of throwing in the trash?
Okay. We get an interesting array of things. Men's suits are not in high demand. We do occasionally outfit a young person who's going out for a job interview, but even now, the men's suits, the three-piece suits just aren't in. We source them to other organizations, St. Matthew's House certainly being one of them. We have a partnership for those goods that are lesser quality that we will not sell in the shop. Things sometimes come in soiled or ripped or torn. The Cerebral Palsy Association out of London comes down every 2 weeks and picks up a load, and they pay us. They pay us 15 cents a pound for soft goods. So again, it's another revenue source. Any metal that comes in that we can't use, for example, cookie cans with labels on them, etc. We do all kinds of metal recycling. Technical things, if we can't use them, fix them, or make them sellable, then they go to Computers for Kids, which is an organization out of. So we do source in many, many different ways. Any further questions?
Yes, just a comment. It's quite interesting. I'm glad you can speak to it this morning because I when I am cleaning out my closets, I don't like to give good quality pieces to Value Village because it just bugs me because they charge so much money. So now we have a place, like now I'm more aware, I've educated myself that this is a good place to bring better clothing.
Please, and please, I stress, no one gets paid. Not to disparage the other organizations who do really, really good work,
Right.
but their CFOs live in, or CEOs live in
Really, I
really
would like
nice,
to know that
nice
we can
places.
do this. It's wonderful, right?
Yeah.
Because
And we also encourage students to volunteer with us. They get their community service hours. So if you have young people in your life who are looking for a place to go, we can help them out. It's a mutual admiration society. Yes.
This is more of a comment than a question, but I'm surprised and embarrassed to say that I didn't even know that your service organization existed up
Thank you.
until this moment.
Thank you. And this is Martha's brainchild. Let's connect with the service clubs, your first venue, and try to fill a gap that you don't provide. You certainly have your auction coming up as your fundraiser. This is ours. And I had some exciting news. BizX magazine yesterday announced that the May Court of Windsor is the best social enterprise in Windsor. So best social. We're very excited about that as well. We work very hard. Yes.
I remember doing that.
We thought we had 109 last year, and then we did a membership audit, and we only had about 80. We have worked very hard at building members. We're back up to about 120 now. And Martha's a great contributor to that. Yes,
How many are men?
4.
Those are your muscles.
No, we are our muscles.
No, two for decorators, actually, we call them in to decorate for Christmas next week and. Yeah, right.
Yes,
I was just say, can you tell us any anecdotal stories about idiot husbands that donate things that they should?
well, we had this great fella who knows of the May Court, and his wife went on a cruise, and he thought, well, I'm gonna clean out a little bit. Needless to say, some things arrived at the May Court that the wife wasn't sure had disappeared from the house until she saw them posted on Facebook for sale.
And is that
So when Ed came into the May Court last Saturday, I asked him how big his dog had, whether or not it had a postal code. Yes,
Many of the organizations that you support, we also support.
yes, yes.
As a residents, buying first, we do a fresh fruit drop off. We're up to about 17 agencies.
And now the need is even more profound. We like to think that things have improved recently at the May Court because we've worked so darn hard. But also we feel a desperation out there. With rising variable mortgage rates, the lack of housing in our city, affordable housing, people are really hard pressed. But it's no shame to shop at May Court. I'm wearing a May Court. Come on in and see us. Like I said, we need volunteers. We also need shoppers. We occasionally end up with some lovely tools. Couldn't tell you what they are, but you know, they are there. China, crystal, wine glass. We sell glassware. Glasses for $1 each. When my daughter and I travel and we want a glass of wine, we can use the plastic stuff the hotel. I bring along a couple wine glasses. We use the crystal and I leave them behind. Because somebody there will probably enjoy the use of it. So, you know, just kind of quirky things, yes.
That's a good thing to do with dishes too, like if you have nice bowls, so then when you bring a salad to someone's house.
A tray of cookies at
Yeah,
Christmas
and
time.
just
My gosh, we
leave
have
them on
trays.
dish, right, I do that too, and with,
We have more glass trays than you can shake. But it's okay because you do that kind of thing. Any further questions? Yes.
I forget which organization I had read about. And they did a tea, like a formal tea. So they put a plea out for cups and saucers.
That's be the LaSalle Rotary.
Yeah, this was somebody out of town,
Okay.
but they ended up getting hundreds and hundreds. And then the people were so impressed with the quality, because it was I'll say the grandmothers that, the granddaughter, nobody wanted their China passion. They ended up selling after the tea for like a nominal donation. Because they said we have all of these cups and saucers we can't store. So it was like a double fundraiser. It worked very well for them.
Just before we had our Fine, Fancy and Frugal event, someone of my vintage came in with her grandmother's china. She said it had been in her basement for 18 years. Her kids didn't want it, her grandkids didn't want it, she hadn't used it. It was complete place settings for 13, plus all the serving pieces, the gravy boat, the covered vegetables, etc., etc. We could put it in our shop, but we also work with an auction house out of Toronto. Maybe we could get $300 or $400 for it. The Toronto market is much bigger. The value in that gift was amazing. So those things show up too. Watch us, follow us if you're a shopper. Enjoy. Thank you.
Thank you.